M.I.A. is a controversial rapper in the middle of a battle with her ex-fiance right now over the custody of her 14-year-old son. And in the process, she has gone on an insane rant on Twitter with a lot of confusing tweets, making accusations at her former manager, Jay-Z, at Hillary Clinton, and at her ex-fiance's billionaire family. And somehow she thinks all of this is connected in a conspiracy against her and her personal struggle.
Sounds about right. I don't know what the problem is. Everything you just said sounds exactly right. What's
sounds
wrong?
About Shane
Jay-Z's
Cashman.
in the Illuminati.
Thank you, guys.
I mean, he does do this.
He does do this. Oh, I shouldn't even do that on camera. I think that's terrible. Don't do it, Brett.
It's gonna get clipped now.
No.
You're in the Illuminati. It's confirmed.
Didn't mean
I'm
to do
okay
that.
with that. That's
No,
that's
Brett.
fine. Yes,
No,
yes, I am.
Better keep your eyes covered.
So she posted this screenshot of what looks like an email. She quoted, "Biden won't let me see my child. The longest processing is meant to be 2 months, and it's already been that." And she's not getting approved for a visa to go to the U.S. right now. The email says she's ineligible for a U.S. visa due to her past behavior, despite having had visas before. She'll have to go through this process each time she applies, and she'll have to wait 6 to 9 months, which means in the next administration, I guess she's hoping that Trump will win and let her into the U.S. But when it says due to your past behavior, she's making a lot of assumptions that it has to do with a lot of her political controversies. She's very outspoken about being skeptical of vaccines, about being pro-Palestine,
She's extremely
being
close.
against Black Lives Matter.
She's extremely close to Assange.
Yes,
That's why I think all this has to do with her ties to
defended
Assange.
Julian Assange quite often. Yeah, and she's had other controversies too. She got in trouble back in 2012 for flipping off the camera at the Super Bowl halftime show, which is insane to think about, like that being a controversy.
I think she's great.
Wait, so Janet Jackson was a controversy in 2004, but flipping off the camera is a controversy nowadays?
Yeah.
The real thing, though, is that she should just go to Mexico, ditch her ID, cross the border, give a fake name, get $3,000.
We'll fly you there.
And then she could just go see her kid, and she'd just get released.
Yes.
You know?
Our tax dollars.
She has no idea how easy it is.
It really seems pretty easy. Yeah, I mean, just ditch your ID at the border and wander on in. You'll be detained maybe for a little bit, and they'll let you go.
So the interesting thing here is her ex-fiance is Benjamin Bronfman.
I saw that. I know who that is.
He is the heir to a $1 billion fortune from the Seagram Corporation. Yes, the beverage corporation. And he's related to Sarah and Claire Bronfman. His grandfather is Edgar Bronfman, all of whom were involved in the Nexium cult. This is the Hollywood sex cult.
They just funded it.
They were funding it. They were heavily involved in it. And she just so happens to have this connection with them, where now by blood she is their family.
Right.
She's their relative.
It was mostly like a pyramid scheme.
Yeah.
With sex cult attributes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's in some sense connected to them, but a lot of these were disjointed ideas. She said, "I've shown support for Julian Assange for 14 years and have been to the USA many times. The only thing different this time is I called for a ceasefire and spoke out against genocide and ethnic cleansing. Now I'm forced to pick between my child and speaking up for what's right." So she thinks that she's being denied a visa due to her pro-Palestine statements on social media. But she's also accusing Jay-Z of being paid off by the Bronfman family to cut off ties with her because she used to be managed by Jay-Z's Rock Nation.
Yes.
Not sure what to make of that, to be honest.
Jay-Z's a loser, and I don't like anything about Jay-Z, and I think he's always been bad to his artists. The only one who really came out of Rock Nation with any popularity, I guess, is Grimes. I don't even know if Grimes is on his label anymore. But he would let all these artists just sit on his label and do nothing forever.
Why?
I don't know.
Well,
I think he's just a loser.
Is he like a bad producer or whatever?
He shouldn't be.
She was managed by Rock Nation from May 2012 to the end of 2013, and allegedly the reason she left Rock Nation is because they were trying to delay the release of a documentary that she was doing.
Oh yeah, that's what's. I think Kanye's in that documentary too. It's a great. I really like M.I.A.
What's the documentary?
I forget what it's
called. It was about the making of one of her albums.
Yeah, she's one of the most interesting artists around. I like her. Her new record is interesting, and it's only on her website. You can only press play on her website. No fast forwarding, no rewinding.
Really?
Yeah. There are parts I'm like, okay, like we don't have to chant Free Palestine for 20 minutes, but there are really interesting parts on that record. I forget what it's called.
Is it
cool.
Matanji?
Did you get a boombox lined up and just record it?
I should have.
That's what you should do.
I should have.
That's
It's probably on YouTube now. I should find it. But her song Borders is one of the best songs. It's amazing. So it's really, I think she's onto something with a lot of this stuff. I think Jay-Z is part of a bigger conspiracy. He's friends with Marina Abramovich, who is a psychopath artist who does all the weird, what do they call it? The cooking sessions. We don't have to get into that on Pop Culture Crisis.
The connection between
weird stuff,
Jay-Z and the Bronfman family is that Edgar Bronfman was the former CEO of Warner Music Group back when she was with his son.
Interesting.
So he has a lot of powerful ties in the music industry and possibly was able to pay off Kanye to cut off her as a client.
Well, does he give money to the Bidens?
I'm sure.
Probably.
Not out of the question.
Sure.
Right? So she almost married into the Bronfman family with Benjamin Bronfman, the father of her child.
Did not realize.
It's gotta be the worst feeling in the world to almost marry into $1 billion family.
His father, Edgar Bronfman Jr., the former CEO of Warner Music Group, and then his grandfather is the Edgar Bronfman Sr., who was involved in NXIVM, and his mother was an actress. So she's basically drawing all of these connections that there's a globalist conspiracy behind her not getting a visa to the U.S.
Clearly.
Do you think that she's on to something?
Yes,
I think that she's not exactly helping her case with these tweets because they sound crazy and disjointed, and they're written in all caps and horrible spelling and grammar.
It's my same criticism of someone I love, is Alex Jones, his messaging can be bad.
It can be dicey.
But he's on to something, you know?
She's pretty funny, too. She tweeted, "My son needs both his parents. We're not in a Disney movie."
That part was great. That part was great.
She's definitely clever, but not helping her.
The tweets are kind of hard to decipher sometimes, but I mean, the Bronfmans. I'm looking up now. I didn't even know about Samuel Bronfman II in 1975 was kidnapped in Purchase, New York, which is where I went to my art college in Purchase, New York. Yeah, very weird, very sad little place in Westchester. Yeah, this family seems insane.
I've been out there.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, muddled messaging can be the hardest thing. Because I said, when you were sending me all of the material here, I said it's going to be very hard for a person who even has a shred of linear thought to be able to process through this in any way that's meaningful. It's very hard for people.
Well, when crazy people are trying to tell you a story, they start in the middle and they don't give you any of the context.
I do this all the time.
Like, when I'm trying to listen to you and I want to believe you, you've got to start at the beginning.
It's my favorite way of hearing a story, though, from a crazy person when it starts in the middle. But you said you listened to her Instagram Live and it was really hard.
Yeah, she went on Instagram Live yesterday for 20 minutes. I listened to every word and it just doesn't make sense. Like, I get that she was legitimately ostracized in the music industry due to her political statements, because when she was first getting a lot of traction, this was in the late 2000s, when it was not trendy to make political statements as an artist. For anyone.
I mean,
at least it had to be the political statements that they wanted you to make, and they couldn't actually be like, you know, criticizing the Iraq war or whatever. Like, she couldn't say the things she wanted to say, and she was supposed to sell the rags to riches story. Like, that's what they wanted her to talk about, because she is a Sri Lankan refugee, and then she came from nothing and made a name for herself, and like that's something you can sell. That's pretty easy to market.
And she was like a pop star.
They were like, I listened to her interview with Candace Owens that she did a couple of years ago, and she said they wanted me to talk about what it's like to eat truffle fries in Beverly Hills and drive a Bentley.
Great interview.
I remember that. That was fascinating.
Yeah, and she was very lucid and compelling and sounded so reasonable in that interview, which is why it's kind of concerning that she doesn't sound like she's of her right mind right now.
I would be freaking out if I could not get into the country to see my kid.
Especially if your child like happened to be connected to this weird, evil
I would be
family.
freaking out. I mean, how long has it been since she's seen her kid? I don't know.
Couple years, I think.
That's horrifying. Right. My son is turning 14 soon, and I just can feel the time slipping so fast.
Yeah, I'm sure you would sound crazy too.
I already sound crazy, and then I would lose it. I would do the thing where you sneak across the border. Yeah, I would totally do.
There's a whole bunch of
M.I.A. If you're watching,
I'd be like the hobo with the little scarf bag on a stick.
Yeah.
There's a lot of holes in the wall at Yuma. Just drive over there, fly into the airport there in Mexico City.
The latest she tweeted is, "They won't let me speak to my child unless I delete these tweets."
Yeah.
I would do anything. I would delete the tweets. I'd be like, what do you want? You want my charge card? I don't care. Take it.
Yeah. I wonder if that was hyperbole at that point.
Maybe. I don't know. And the last time we talked about her on the show was when she converted to Christianity, and she said she got the biggest backlash of her career for saying Jesus is real. She said she had this vision of Jesus while she was awake that turned her world upside down. And that was like more backlash than she'd ever gotten for making political statements.
Kanye said similar thing, because he said a lot of things that are wild, but he said once he started saying close on Sundays and he became born again during the Jesus is King era is when a lot of things started to go really bad for him. I mean, it went really bad for him after the InfoWars stuff, but you can look at it and see how he lost fans, or even starting to do certain shows. They didn't want to talk to him anymore because he was talking about Christianity.
And then she also accused a model named Aurora. What was her last name?
I forget. Is this the one who was friends with Solange?
Yeah. She accused this model of vaccinating her son when he was 12 behind her back.
Yeah, like that I need to know more about. Was like, M.I.A. around at this point?
She's just throwing all of this information out there and just info dumping on us, and I don't know what to make of it.
Either way, that sounds really bad, but like, was M.I.A. still around her son at that point, or was this while the son's been away? It sounds really bad though.
Yeah, and then she tweeted, "Be very clear why my Matangi record was buried in 2013. She's blaming Jay-Z for that. So maybe
she's having like a really bad time.
I wouldn't put it past Jay-Z. It's weird. He's got like really big artists on his label that just don't do anything.
Like what?
Like Jay Electronica, who was, I thought, bound to be one of the bigger rappers of all time, just kind of like languishing on a label. He put out one record, and most of the songs on that were songs that we had all heard years prior. It's just weird. That's like Erykah Badu's ex, and he's a really good rapper, very interesting guy. So I don't know why
Rock Nation is still like active.
I think so, yeah.
It's owned by Live Nation.
Yeah.
Which is owned by Liberty Entertainment Group, which owns Formula One and Sirius XM.
Yeah. I guess people listening
illusion of choice
could argue that like J. Cole is someone on his label who's done fairly well, but I don't find him interesting. But I don't find him interesting. But that's me, like subjectively speaking. I think he's
okay. I enjoy him in Gunna.
Here's where you start to lose me. She suggested that Hillary Clinton gifted Gaddafi oil fields to Sarah Bronfman, the sister of her ex-fiance, who was also heavily involved in Nexium back in 2011 when Gaddafi was killed. Here's her tweet. Hillary Clinton gave Sarah Bronfman Gaddafi's oil fields after killing him. I was punished for saying he helped Africa. Then they tried to send my child to one of her schools. When I went to visit the school, the children looked dozy and drugged. And I couldn't tell why. I refused.
I looked dozy and drugged when I was in school too, but that's because I was bored.
Tucker should hit up M.I.A. on his way home from Russia.
That's a great
and
idea.
do this interview.
He should do that.
It would be amazing, because I want to know what that means.
I found it very
I don't know if it means anything.
I mean, the murder of Gaddafi was so weird. It was like,
really
here
weird.
He is really starting to put together Africa as like a viable economic power, and I guess that's why he was killed. But like, things didn't turn out better for Africa after that.
Yeah.
He was the only one who was like, I have some ideas. And they're like, nope.
His whole death was like a humiliation ritual.
Yes.
Remember that video?
Yes, it was so creepy.
Really creepy.
And Gaddafi was like, number one enemy of the United States when I was a kid.
Same.
Yeah.
I was saying.
Yeah.
We're from the same timeline,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, it was the same timeline, yeah.
From before the Large Hadron Collider was turned on?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah,
that's correct.
Good. I'm glad we know that. But I think the M.I.A. stuff, I think she might know stuff. I mean, if she was operating that close to a family with that much money and history,
the Bronfmans are so weird.
She would probably know things that might sound completely crazy to us, I think that's possible.
Well, I guess this is just leaving us with more questions than answers.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.